we'll go ahead and talk about the top 10 reasons why Star Wars The Last Jedi sucks or pisses me off. Now, yeah, that's inflammatory language, and we just got downvoted to hell by Star Wars fans, but we are also Star Wars fans. We also buy all the same shit you buy. So here is just a different perspective, and this is why Star Wars is fun, because we could discuss it together.
I mean, honestly, I wouldn't even say it's a different perspective because people are generally in agreement with us from what I was seeing.
Oh, yeah? Why?
A lot of people are just straight up unhappy with it.
No, dude, that has I thought critics are loving it. It's like,
critics love it, but if you look at the audience ratings, it's Rotten Tomatoes, it's like 56% at this point.
What? I see, yeah, because I saw it at like 94% critics, and then something like 70% audience when I looked at it. Now it's at what?
It's at 56 last night. But it's worth saying too, they haven't had time to get influenced by anyone yet either. That's just their genuine opinions of the movie.
So now we're going to give our genuine opinions on the movie. Here we go. Number 10, okay? Actually, I am going to take number 10 and I'm going to save it for last. Okay, because I think there are so many reasons within number 10.
We're gonna get caught up.
We're gonna lose track. Yeah. So basically, number 10 is the plot holes. Oh my God, the plot holes. But you need to wait on that. Okay, that's the juicy bits that we'll get to later. So number 9, too many dropped subplots from Force Awakens. Okay. And what do I mean by that? Well, let's start with the very one at the top. It just seems like the First Order is now in control of the entire galaxy?
Somehow.
Yeah.
They went from one base to the entire galaxy.
Yeah.
Not only one base, but that base got blown up.
Yeah. We blew up that base! So there's supposed to be some measure of winning, but no, in actuality, we were in complete despair and we were hanging by the thread of our teeth, apparently.
Yeah.
So it just seems like Rian Johnson didn't really understand the state of the galaxy. Because just because the capital planet is destroyed in the Republic doesn't necessarily mean that the entire Republic falls apart, the New Republic. But I guess that's what he wants us to believe. That because they use Starkiller Base, that now the galaxy is so scared that because the Resistance fleet is obliterated, because I guess it was in orbit, most of the fleet, and various planets blew up, that they don't want to blow up next, so everybody just joins the First Order, and now the entire galaxy is controlled by the First Order.
But Starkiller Base is gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can't do it
and that atrocity is something that would rally people against that.
Yeah.
So originally, it's supposed to be the New Republic and the Resistance. They're not the same thing.
No.
But yet in this film, it's kind of, confused into one entity.
Yeah.
And they start referring to themselves as rebels again, because you can't rebel against something that's not in power.
Yeah.
The First Order was just a remnant of the Empire, not the ones in power.
Yeah, they weren't in power.
But you can excuse that little bit. But there are other dropped subplots from Force Awakens, but the Knights of Ren aren't here, so that plot point is dropped.
I was really looking forward
Snoke,
to that flashback.
Snoke as a whole just got fucking dropped.
Yeah, we'll talk about that at a greater
Christ.
that is a huge reason. Luke's reason for being on Ahch-To. In The Force Awakens, Han Solo speculated that after Ben turned to the dark side, Luke left to find the first ever Jedi temple. And even in this film, Luke says that, do you think I came here for no reason?
Yeah, he doesn't
Right? But here's the thing. But apparently it turns out the only reason he gives later on in the film...
Phasma. Just made
Yeah,
noise.
we got another fucking
Phasma
thing
right
for
here.
you,
I was like,
Phasma.
what was that?
We got a whole reason devoted to you. But no, I say the only reason he gives in the film later on is I came here to die.
Yeah.
So what the fuck? So why then did he create the map in R2-D2 to lead people
He made
to
like
his
this huge
location
puzzle.
in case he's needed?
When it's direly
If he's just
needed,
going
you know
there
where
to
to
die.
find
Because he
me.
wants
Yeah,
a
and then
proper
people came there.
funeral. That's why.
Oh, he wants
He's
some.
like, hey, after I die, get my body and give me a nice
Yeah,
little
like,
funeral, guys.
the people came there to find him because, he said, if you need me, come find me.
Yeah.
And they came and they found him.
And he's like,
and
go
he's
away.
like, yeah, fuck off. And so,
The way that they did it, they made it designed so that he knew that whoever found the map was brought to him by the Force, and it was like a really significant thing. So he did like all these puzzle pieces of the map. He's like, when you find me, we'll save the universe type of thing. And then they get there, and he's like, I'm old. Leave me alone. I don't want to help.
And that's another big reason as we climb this list on the way Luke behaves. So there are a bunch more plot lines that were dropped from Force Awakens, and you can put those in the comments, but it's time to move on to the next reason. The next reason is far too much humor in this film for a darker film. This is actually a much darker film than Force Awakens, yet the humor here is way more, and it doesn't seem to even work.
It did not.
Like, I appreciate humor. You know, like, I love the Marvel films because they have tons of humor in them, even when they're dark. But they make it work. In this, a lot of the humor felt out of place.
Like what? Name one scene that you were supposed to laugh at that you didn't.
The whole fucking scene with Rose and Finn in the casino.
Okay, yeah, we've got. Hold on, we got a whole reason devoted to that, but I'll give you some example jokes, right? So, let's see, Poe and Hux. At the very beginning of the film, you know when Poe is fucking around with Hux on the intercom? That's supposed to be this tense moment, right, of them communicating, and it turned it into a joke. So from that point, I was like, you know what? Okay, fine. All right, maybe a little funny here. But as we continue to get that, even during other scenes, the whole, like you said, the whole casino scene is just an extended CGI creatures acting silly with opera singers.
Like
stupid shit. It felt like the prequels there, but that's something else. And then how about, I can't believe you motherfuckers forgot about this, Luke jerking off creatures.
I didn't forget.
Oh my god,
like
no, I
fucking
forgot.
milking them.
I forced that out of my mind.
I did not forget. Yeah, I was
and he's like suckling on the nipple.
And they like zoomed in on the teats, and he was like,
and then and even better is that creature looks over at Rey and is like, "Sup?
You want some too?
Sup?"
What was that about?
What the fuck was that about?
It's the blue milk, man.
And he's just like,
Was that blue milk? It looked like green milk.
It was green milk.
Blue, whatever. It was weird. It was weird.
Also, another example, Flynn leaking from all his holes and that being comedic relief. But I didn't laugh at all. And then there was another part where the whole audience laughed, and I asked Joe, I was like, what are they laughing at? And Joe goes, I don't know. And later on we discussed it. When Finn... What?
I have no idea. They were laughing.
Yeah.
When
Finn got on, when they infiltrated the ship, they took their clothes off, or there were clothes on tables, or what was it, Joe?
It was basically they had the Imperials like suits, and there's a little pressing machine that looked like a ship.
Yeah, they made it
like a ship. Oh, yeah. And they went down.
I must have missed it.
Pressed on their suits, and everyone was like,
Okay,
that
cool.
was completely unneeded, though. Like.
So, but what I'm saying is, half of the jokes I didn't laugh at, and Force Awakens is a surprisingly humorous film, and I laughed at almost every single joke in Force Awakens. It was well written here. Here, it seems like Rian Johnson or the writers just didn't have that good of a grasp on the humor. It was more goofy, inappropriate. Every time there was a poignant moment, it kind of had to be accentuated or deflated by a stupid joke.
They would just cut to something that was funny. Like
cutting.
You'd go to the mutiny, and or one of the really serious parts is like, okay, stuff's happening, and then it would jump to another part, like another scene, or on a different planet, and it would just be humor.
Yeah.
Like jumping to Chewbacca messing with the porgs or whatever. It was like, why? Why are you?
No, that one
doing
I liked when Chewbacca finally said it. I'm enough of this shit because the porgs are up on his fucking. They're making a home. And another joke that did work is the porg, Chewbacca eating it.
Yeah.
I mean, he fucking killed it, cooked it. Just eat it. The porgs being all fucking gooey, doughy-eyed. All right, so moving on. There is number 7. Hit our button.
Oh God.
It
doesn't even say anything. Okay, so and that's kind of the result of Phasma. The death of Phasma, guys. What'd you think of this?
They said she was gonna have a bigger part.
Kathleen Kennedy said that.
Did you think that, huh?
I did.
No.
I thought
she was gonna have.
I thought their entire thing is they were like, we're gonna turn her into the Boba Fett of this series, and I was like, awesome. Okay, she'll be really cool.
And
they kind of did.
She literally did turn into Boba Fett.
Yeah.
In fact,
too much, I guess.
She had probably 4 lines between both movies.
Yeah.
And
she's actually more disappointing than the original Boba Fett, if you think about it.
Because the actress is fucking Brienne of Tarth.
Yeah.
Like, come on, she's a great actress.
Is a great actress, and you completely 100% fucking wasted her. It was really a betrayal. And they played this up so much because it was a female stormtrooper in a position of leadership and girl power, and don't worry, girl, she's gonna have a bigger role in the next one. Well, what does she have? Well, she somehow makes it out of the trash compactor. I have no fucking idea because Star Killer Base blows up, right? But the only remnant is she has like 3 blood streaks on the top of her, or what was that on the top of her helmet? Or maybe I was seeing a reflection of something else. But you know, like every opportunity she has to see Finn, who she hates, and this frankly disappointing and overblown subplot between her subordinate being disobedient and her wanting to you know, beat him up or something, and instead of fucking shooting him. At every fucking opportunity, she switched to hand-to-hand combat. And she's like, bring out the axes. Oh, we don't have axes, ma'am. The laser axes. This is Star Wars.
She became a James Bond villain.
Yeah, good
exactly
point.
What happened.
She didn't even ever further the plot. She just was a completely pointless character that, like, nothing she did felt you know, well integrated into the story. And
but she was bulletproof, Del.
She was
the
shot.
only stormtrooper that was bulletproof. That's why she was chrome dome, you know?
Chrome deflects lasers.
Why didn't they just give everybody that kind of uniform?
Yeah.
No, she wouldn't look cool that way.
I'm just saying.
They don't have enough of that
the
material.
cape.
Yeah. So she falls into a pit of fire. Do you think she's coming back?
Yes.
Yeah, she's gonna come back.
No, she's not.
I think
There's
she
no
will.
way. There's no
But
fucking
she's
way.
gotta
I know. There was no way she could have gotten off a Star Killer Base.
Right.
either.
So they're gonna
But-
do it twice in a row.
you see
They're not
her
gonna
die?
fucking
It's
bring
gonna
her
be a running
back.
Did
joke.
you see her die?
Yeah, flames just engulfed her body,
You saw her
and she
body?
fell into the crack
You
of
saw
the.
her body?
Yeah, falling. I saw her body fall.
It's still falling.
It's all
It's
falling.
No.
I mean, look. If Luke's
fell through the
lightsaber
whole
can fall
ship.
off a giant building land into a gas planet, and somehow be perfectly fine, and they
Phasma's
recover
alive.
that, she's fine, man.
Phasma is fucking dead, and it was a huge wasted opportunity.
It was.
And fuck you, Disney, for that shit.
I mean, like,
And Rain Johnson and the writers of The Last
They
Jedi.
marketed
You
her
could have
so
done
well.
anything with her.
Yep.
You could have done anything else with her, or set her up in a different position. Instead, you set it up so that BB-8 can have this big scene where he's like shooting. He's in an ATST and he's shooting everybody. Well, good for BB-8, but
I
it
didn't
still
even-
looks a
oh,
little
God.
ridiculous because you got this little ball who somehow grows hands and he's controlling all the
Yeah,
complicated.
little wire.
No, he can tap into its interface.
I'm
So
just
fine,
thinking, if
fine. But why fuck Phasma like that?
she could have had a scene where she like goes to the rebel base, for example, before they bombard it, and she could have just been walking down corridors, blasting rebels like a total badass, and they were running away from her or something. And instead, she's just like, "I'm not even gonna use my gun in this movie. I have
It
a
disappears
sword."
from her
Yeah,
hands.
she used her handgun. I'm like, you have a rifle.
Yeah.
It was like a
exactly.
disruptor rifle or something too. So
Anyways, so moving on to number 6, Leia. Leia floating out in space.
She died.
And then flying like Superman back inside the ship. Okay? This shocked me. I think they were trying to go for this miraculous Leia has powers of her own, which is canon accurate,
Yeah.
right? In Return of the Jedi, it's referenced that she has a link with Luke, and she's force sensitive. There is another, and that's cool, and I liked it. But the way they depicted it here was so ridiculous in the sense that the audience started laughing. There was a few, like I was laughing. A little bit.
I was
like, what?
I was sitting a seat from him, and I hear him go, "What?" And he just starts laughing, and I was like, "That's how I felt."
She flies back into the ship like Superman. Not only that, but then she knocks on the door when she gets there.
Hey guys, I'm back.
Yeah, I didn't understand that. Like, if the bridge has been decompressed
That's
and
what I
there's no
said.
airlock there,
They
The
opened it
air
and
was
it fine.
immediately sucked out of her lungs. She's dead. The whole thing
froze
decompressed. She's
to
dead.
death.
She froze to death. She's dead. The explosion brushed all of her body and shrapnel went everywhere. She's dead. And she's got pieces in her body everywhere. She's dead. But no, apparently, I guess
They
right
explain
before
it.
she did a force bubble.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, right before, and then she floated out in that bubble, and the whole time that we're looking at her, you don't see the bubble.
Nope.
You see her doing this, but you
Well,
see
you
her
see-
cold.
yes.
So her bubble doesn't protect against temperature.
No,
Okay.
it's right above the skin.
Okay,
So the ice
so
and
the-
shit wasn't
the-
actually touching her.
Got it. Okay, so we're trying to explain it for you, Last Jedi here, and she floats back in. But then why does nobody fucking say anything?
Also,
It's like, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
What's up?
Also, when she knocked on the glass and they opened
Oh,
the
shit,
door,
yeah.
there was no like compression room. The moment that door completely opened into a vacuum, everyone standing on the other side was like, "No!"
All right. Yes,
I brought that up. Alex said it's because they have.
no, I said because they have a shield over there. But
Only
then wait.
their shield.
But then
works.
why did the shield not work for the missile
Only
that
their
slammed into
shield
the bridge?
works.
You
That's
know
all.
what? It does. It's not. No, that's not how. The door's open. It was completely open.
I
They
know.
showed some fog, and it was like, what? No, they would have just been like.
We've
whoop.
seen that in Star Trek before where
Yeah.
this bridge is
Yeah,
shielded,
emergency shield,
but we've
yeah.
not really seen that in Star Wars, so
Yeah.
it would have been nice for them to, kind of fix these things. But anyway, it was a scene that was ridiculous, that was a huge surprise. It was supposed to be a big reveal, but it felt a little cheap. It felt a little manipulative, especially when you have obviously Carrie Fisher has passed away. And when I first saw that, I was like, oh, this is how they take her out of the series. And while it was sad and I didn't like it and when it was so sudden, that's war. And I was thinking,
They
okay,
use that as a spark.
that's how you do it. That's how you do it. But then all of a sudden she starts floating back in and she's Superman and goes back.
And I also thought of another thing. If it's emergency shielding that just went up,
Yeah.
how'd she get back in?
Yeah,
She
she
would have
could.
just gone
'cause-
bonk right on the outside.
Jedi.
Yes, of course.
Jedi.
That's the answer to everything.
She was a Jedi. How was what? Wait a minute. How did
That's
she
how
learn
it was
how to do
last
this?
night, man. I was
How
like
did
that-
she learn
what?
how to do this? She's
How?
completely untrained.
Yep.
Well, supposedly, after the movies, Luke found out she was force sensitive and trained her.
Is this
She
canon
is-
though?
I
Or was
believe
that
it is.
obliterated?
We don't know.
in canon?
Everything
Pretty
gets
sure it
obliterated all the time.
See,
We-
the
it might have been
film could have
obliterated, I
done
don't
a
know.
better job to set a lot of this stuff up.
And
Somebody could have said, while she was, after she got up, and blasted a door open herself, when Finn Poe is acting like an idiot and making a bunch of mistakes on the bridge, she blasts in. I mean, somebody could have said something to her afterwards, like, "Wow, that was amazing. You truly are
They
the
just act
leader
like
of
it never
everybody.
happened.
You truly are our prophet," or whatever. And
No.
then she shuts them down immediately and says, "It's just a simple trick I learned from my brother."
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I
It's a
mean?
line like
Because
that.
she
Well,
loves
no,
self-deprecating humor, and she likes to say, like, what you looking at me for? Follow him.
I
that
think.
kind of stuff.
Oh, we
That's
also
what
have to
he
point out
says.
that Admiral
Oh,
Akbar
like
died
after
like that.
He did
yeah,
get emotional.
let's give a moment of silence to Admiral Akbar, who nobody gave a shit about.
Who never did anything.
That's
And as he floated out.
It's a trap.
It's a trap.
Greatest
Poor
war
Akbar.
general
Damn,
strategist.
man, that fucking sucks.
He just
This
died
is-
like
Why, Leia? Why didn't you put your bubble over you and
Yes!
fucking Akbar?
Save
For the
him.
love of God! All right. Anyway, moving on to number 5, and this one's a big one for me, but there are ones above it. Rey's parents' lineage finally answered. Rey's parents are nobody.
After
I'm
years-
hoping he was just
After
lying
years
to
of
her.
speculation.
What's that?
I'm really hoping
Yeah.
that he was just lying to her.
No, he's not lying.
Well-
I mean, he's like, search your feelings. You know it to be true too.
I think he's trying to
his
manipulate.
parents are no. I guarantee you, her parents are random junkers, and they basically sold her off for some cash,
Yep.
and went to go
For
get
drinking
fucking
money.
high and drinking, right? Drinking and flew off and had a great time. But then I don't know how they're in graves on Jakku. I don't know that.
They cut
But-
out the whole plot. There was like the other plot point they cut out too, where like the whole thing she was looking for in the first movie was that golden ship that like dropped her off and left into the atmosphere.
Right, that's the
And they-
ship I was talking about.
They just cut it out. They
Yeah.
just were like, whatever.
Well, no, those are her parents leaving because
Oh.
they sold her. Yeah, so it just feels it's just so disappointing because this, Kathleen has said this is a story of the Skywalkers. Things rhyme, and George Lucas said these things rhyme, and it she's not special anymore. Like, I don't give a fuck anymore. I really don't care. And part of a lot of the things that I was hoping, and I was defending Rey against everybody, saying Rey is a Mary Sue, Rey is this, and Rey is that. And I was defending Rey because I was like, you don't know her lineage. Her lineage will explain some of this stuff later on. And I was betrayed. I was fucking betrayed. So what they're trying to say is now you could be anybody and you can become a Jedi, which was already the case in the lore, honestly. I mean, if we fucking don't listen to Metachlorians, which I hope they get rid of, but I guess they're not going to. But I see what they're trying to go with there, but it's disappointing, it's stupid, but it makes sense, and he's not lying. You want to know why? Because I found quotes, and I'll put it up here on screen, of one interview where Rey's like, well, I think that question was already answered, and Rey and Finn come from nowhere, but she said it real quickly in one line, and then, you know, maybe Disney said, okay, don't say none of that stuff. But you understand J.J. Abrams specific, and then some people are going to defend her. Well, they never set it up that her parents were mysterious. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. J.J. Abrams was dropping hints. Why is Rey only Rey? What's her last name? Yeah. We don't know her last name, and that's because
last name was supposed to be important.
They're trying to set it up. The whole parent
all that guessing for nothing.
All that theory crafting, all those fucking Star Wars channels, but it's all for fucking nothing, and we get disappointment, right?
And not only that,
and this is Star Wars. This is a galaxy far, far away. This is fantasy, sci-fi fantasy. This is having fun and having a good time, and they went for the shitty thing because why? Because it ties into them being able to do non-stop Star Wars films, one every fucking Star Wars film every year, because somebody new can always pop up in the new galaxy, and that's why Rian Johnson gets his new trilogy over in a different part of the galaxy, completely different children who apparently all of a sudden have the most powerful Force. Rey is one of the most powerful Jedi, even with zero training. That makes no fucking sense.
I will say the one thing
out of nowhere.
The one thing I'm happy about that a lot of people started coming up because of Battlefront 2 is that her parents are not ID.
Oh yeah, I'm glad that Battlefront 2 is disconnected.
Fuck that.
Fuck Battlefront 2. But one thing that you know was fucked up, and I'll get to that later. Battlefront 2 has more Luke story and actual Luke feeling like Luke. Than this movie does. Yes. That's Return of the Jedi Luke in Battlefront 2.
They went Batman with Luke on this one.
It fucked up. We'll talk about that later. And that's another thing is that she is not that great of a fighter, weapon fighter. If you go back and look at Force Awakens, and me and Joe did this, when she fights off the two smugglers trying to steal BB-8 with a staff, she's very raw in using it. Later on in the film, she uses the lightsaber, and they actually, if you rewatch it, they do a good job of her style being completely unrefined and wild. Now, she starts to get the hang of it more and more, and as she calms down and instead of using anger, she starts to get more confident, then yeah, she could fight a little effectively with it, but her style is still rough. All of a sudden, she flies over to Luke's island, and she's swinging around the lightsaber with 100% accuracy, well. Darth Maul, when Luke has not trained her. He's still on lesson 1, you know, reach out, rocks, you know, and she's doing all this, and you want to know why? Well, because they brought in one of the, like a very famous kung fu specialist or weapon specialist, and he trained her in these things, but they forgot to fucking set it up, you know, like, she's automatically this badass weapon master who can take on 10 Praetorian guards who are fully fucking trained, and she can beat them. No. Anyways, moving on. So that's enough of Rey's parents being nobody and Rey being nobody herself. We get what they're going for, that anybody is special now, and anybody can be special. That was already in the lore. You just have to have the right Metachlorians. So Rey's Metachlorians must be through the roof. And then number 2 is that the only reason it's Rey is because of Kylo. Kylo is growing dark. The Force needed the balance to balance that immense dark power out. Here comes Rey. So Rey's not more powerful than Kylo. They fluctuate, and they are about the same because they need the balance. And how is that possible? It doesn't really make sense.
Nope.
Luke cut himself off from the Force, so there's no Luke to fuck with the balance. But there is Snoke. He's clearly using the Force, so I don't know how that fucks with his balance. Anyways, moving on. Number 4, the Finn Rose subplot.
I'm sorry, what? That never happened.
Yeah, it ruined the whole fucking film.
It did.
It screeched the film to a halt. And then they kept cutting back to it every once in a while, too. How how they even get off the fucking ship while they're in the middle of a desperate chase, go and have a fucking side adventure, and come back and still be is ridiculous on its own. But the actual casino scene, Beard, tell us about this, about why that just doesn't work.
It just, I know it's gonna sound weird, but it felt too normal.
Yeah.
Even though there were aliens there, but
to me, here's what I call it. I say it didn't feel Star Wars. It felt like Fifth Element. It felt like, you know, the prequels, which is Star Wars, but it did feel like the prequels.
Fifth Element. It felt like a scene out of the Fifth Element more than anything. And Fifth Element's a great film.
I love Fifth Element.
It was completely out of place here.
Yeah, exactly.
And it took me out of the moment, you know?
There was so much CGI in that, too, because they had to do the animals running, and they had to do the city moving real fast, and the city is obviously a fictional city, so there's so much CGI everywhere.
They had to do all the aliens were CGI. They had all these, like, little humor things. Like, the whole thing felt like a complete detachment.
Oh, like, look at this little slug.
Like this little slug.
He's a card counter or whatever.
They went so over the top with the Star Wars universe, but it was, like, it was way too over the top. And the whole thing that they established there with, like, oh, we have to free the animals, we have to fight the tyranny, these guys are weapon dealers, was so badly written.
Yeah.
And honestly, when they freed all the animals and they were on top of them and they were rampaging through the casino and they were laughing and having fun and enjoying themselves, I was like, this is pod racing again. That's how much I was cringing the entire time.
They ham-fisted it in there. And they make two big political points. Three almost. So there's the slavery. Slavery's wrong. You're making slaves of these kids. Second, animal abuse. You're like racing horses are bad. Never do any racing horses or anything like that. It's bad. And then three, just the greed of populace, which that part I kind of was interested in, but it didn't match up thematically with the way those people looked, the way they acted, the way it was being presented to us as a big joke. I loved this idea that there's rich people out there selling weapons and profiting from both sides. And I was like, okay, if you're going to get political on this, you're going to get serious on this, you better follow through. They don't fucking follow through at the end. And that's wrapped up with this DJ character, right? Yeah. Benicio del Toro, who is, do you think he did a good job?
He did a good job.
He did a good job with what he had.
Good job,
he portrays the character quite nicely, but ends up inconsequential, really meaning nothing. And he's like, he basically just gets paid out. The highest bidder gets his loyalty.
He furthers the plot. That's all.
He betrays Finn and Rose, which causes more Resistance fighters to be obliterated and killed. And then at the end, they say something to him, and he's like, "Well, maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. I don't know. Fuck it. Moving on."
Yeah, he's just like, you blow them up, they blow you up. At the end of the day, it's the same thing.
And he's like, "No, it's not." And he's like, "Well, maybe you're right."
Yeah,
okay,
that's it.
I thought it was going to be like a double cross.
Right.
Like a triple
Me
cross.
Too. Dude, there was his shifty eyes.
No, I was thinking once they paid him, they'd blow him up and take the payment back because it's the First Order and they're fucking evil, right? And it's like, no, they just let him go.
What I would have done.
Or maybe he was going to turn into the new Han Solo even or something, like a smuggler that they just had tagging along.
It would have been cool. But that shit just weighed everything down. The only good part about that.
All that could have been avoided.
Why?
Because while Princess Leia, or General Leia, was healing, she had a new general take over. And she was being very shady and discreet with Poe. And then Poe's like, all right, we got to figure out what the fuck to do. If she would have just told her the plan, hey, we're trying to escape. We're going to use the transporters.
Oh, yeah, so you're saying the whole subplot is invalidated.
To go get
if that bitch would have just opened her mouth and told people what was going on, which resulted in mutiny.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later, because that's the plot hole.
Those two things.
You just touched on a plot hole that I was going to bring up later.
There's two things that could have been avoided.
Right.
It doesn't make sense that she wouldn't tell him.
It's awful. It was awful. It was Rains Johnson.
My crew.
Yeah.
We're going to escape. That's the plan.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah, done. And okay.
Poe would have been like, all right, cool.
Let's do this now. Yeah. We don't have to send a ship out to get codes and fucking stuff and
waste like an hour.
Because they're going to just leave the ship.
Yeah,
or they could have just put the ship on autopilot and hyperspaced it like they did before to blow up the ship. We'll get there. All right. Anyways.
We're not done talking about Finn and Rose yet.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. Let's talk about how stupid and fucking dumb the whole character of Rose was falling in love with Finn in less than 13
12
hours or some shit.
Yeah.
And then like they're on the final scene. I was like, Finn's going to die in a heroic way. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Rose crashes into him and then goes, I love you. That's why I saved you. And Finn's like, what the like his face was like I was in the theater. He was like, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? But the whole thing was dumb. And then like
she falls in love with him because he's a hero. But yet heroes are wrong, and you really shouldn't be a hero. Instead, save yourself and others and run away to fight another day. But that's why she fell in love with him, because he's a hero and he was trying to sacrifice himself and shit. So she slams into him, which, by the way, would have
sacrificed herself. She like tried to save him by being a hero. She was a hero and tried to stop him from being a hero. But she was trying to be a hero. But then the whole thing...
And then she fell in love with him and kissed him.
It ruined the moment. And then also, all the AT-ATs that were there and saw them doing this, they just were going to go... Pew, pew, and just kill them instantly. I was like, what are you doing?
Nobody fired on them.
All of those AT-ATs are just looking at him.
They looked at him. One of them straight up was looking down at them.
They were probably as shocked as we were that she kissed him and fell in love with him so quickly. They were like,
looking down like,
hey man, that's your problem.
How did they survive even? Because Finn and Rose were still out there.
Yeah. So
how did they survive?
They ran really fast.
Yeah, apparently.
Like, honestly, they saw them down there doing that, and they were like, why aren't we shooting him? He's like, he's in more pain now than any laser could ever inflict.
He's got a love triangle going on because I think Finn is falling in love, or has already fallen in love with Rey. The first thing, he is thirsty as fuck. The first thing he says when he wakes up, where's Rey?
I want that girl right now.
I think there might have been some sexual tension between him and Phasma. Maybe that's why. He's okay, so that's a quadruple. He's gonna have
He's gonna be in whip. That's what it is. But
Finn is a badass.
As far as like the casino planet though goes, the best way to put it is it literally felt like a small part of a Disney film injected into a Star Wars.
It was a different movie.
Yeah.
It was a different movie
like
in there.
Disney characters everywhere, like super, like over the top.
And it was too long. Too long. It made the movie too long. And you could have took all of those minutes. Let's combine it and say it took 30 minutes of screen time. You could have gave us what we wanted, which is Luke training, or if you don't want to say Luke trains Rey, then give us the dark side training. Yeah. What the fuck happened to Snoke training
or
Kylo?
How about who the fuck is Snoke?
Yeah, exactly.
Like he died without we ever.
Whoa!
Okay.
That's the very next one. We're here now. Right. Number 3, the Death of Snoke. Yeah. What the fuck,
Disney? Too soon.
It was so
bad. What the fuck?
Like, we don't even know who the fuck he is.
Yeah, nobody knows who the fuck Snoke is. All the things just played out. They never explained
anything. Set it up.
Okay, during the regular movies, they set it up to where...
he's powerful.
How Sidious and Vader were the last two Sith, right?
Yep.
Who the fuck is Snoke? Where did he come from?
Nobody.
What did he learn?
The Outer Rim.
Who did he learn
You can find out in the expanded magazines and rules and online. He came from the Outer Rim. But that's all we know. So, but here's the thing. He's set up so well and mysteriously by J.J. Abrams, and then he's not used. So it's such a good villain, in my opinion. I was ready for him. I desperately wanted him to be Darth Plagueis, right? But that's wasn't going to happen, but whatever.
Be somebody.
So, right, purely evil. He is somebody. He's purely evil. He's confident. He's powerful. And he set up a brilliant master plan. Yep. He's the one that actually made these two go in this astral projection where they can communicate in order to lure Rey to him. And to make Rey, okay, well, we'll talk about it in a bit, and to make Kylo feel shitty about himself. Just basically, he is so fucking evil. He's basically treating these two like fucking children. The two most powerful little Force users we've seen. He's treating them like children, and he wallows in their hopelessness of the rebellion as they're shooting him. And basically, this motherfucker can fling people around a room by just looking at them, barely even lifting a finger.
Like,
and hold on, he connects Rey and Kylo across galaxies. He can read their thoughts and feelings effortlessly, but this near omnipotent being can't hear or sense a rusty lightsaber rattling around on a metal fucking chair right fucking next to him.
That's what I was
and it goes through his fucking stomach and kidneys, and he's like, oh, with his... And
he's just like, what a twist!
Oh my god! And he falls over like Darth Maul.
He's so powerful. He's so in tune with the Force. Yet he can't sense someone manipulating the thing right.
No, you know what it was? Luke was disconnected from the Force, so was his lightsaber.
Oh.
It was invisible.
No,
I'm sorry, he disconnected the lightsaber from the Force.
I was hoping that Snoke is sitting there, because he was comical. Okay, he's like, I know his every thought. I know he could never, ever, ever betray me. Oh God, he betrayed me. And I was like, I was hoping.
I love it. He was too excited. He was too excited
I was so
that Kylo was
hoping
going to kill
that he
Rey.
was doing that. Well, no, I was hoping he was doing that so comically, so that he could be like, and I see him manipulating the lightsaber right next to me.
Yeah.
Fuck you. You
Right.
know?
Boom!
Yeah.
Bitch slap them on. And
Yeah,
we're like, oh my God, this is the most powerful villain we've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it would have been like, you know, all that shit talking that they said that he, you know, Andy Serkis and the Star Wars people said he's more powerful than the Emperor and all this
Yeah.
stuff. That would have been
Show
true if that would have been like that.
And he would have just fucking slapped both
But no,
of them around. And then
instead
they'd
he
have
gets
to-
a raging boner, like Joe said, you know, screaming at Kylo Ren, and then fucking, not sure where this is from, maybe Reddit or maybe nme.com, but it's a YouTube comment. I swear to God, if Snoke doesn't return in a new body, then like Phasma, he was completely useless. It was my belief that Snoke was so powerful that he transcended the physical plane, and much like the ancient Sith Emperor Darth Vitiate, and required a new vessel to transfer his consciousness and power into. This would explain why Snoke's body was so withered and decrepit. A mortal vessel cannot sustain such an immense dark side energy without withering and decaying. This is genius. I'm like, oh man, God, I'm reading this comment. I'm like, oh, I'm getting all psyched up. But no, that's not who Snoke is. He's just some random fuck from the Outer Rim that gets killed. But we are holding out hope, just like you are, man, that we will see Snoke return, okay?
Well,
Because
yeah.
I mean, this has been set up in the lore. It was explained by Sidious to Vader, and I just wish this was the case. But you know what? This is Disney, and it probably isn't the case. It probably isn't.
To finish my thought, though, I thought he was Palpatine. And imagine how fucking cool it would have been if he was just like, I let them think they won, so they would all get in one place, and I killed all of them, and my problem is done.
Well,
when he
not
like
only
blew up
that-
all the planets and everything, and then it would have been like a long con.
It would have made sense in terms
Nah, it
of
wouldn't.
Operation Cinder as well.
Yeah,
Because it's
he
like
still had
he's
Operation Cinder.
destroying even Imperial worlds.
Yep.
So he can wipe the slate clean.
And then he's
and
still
him,
alive.
he's at the very top.
Operation Cinder is Battlefield 2,
Or
where
Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2, where he, you know, sets out an order to wipe the galaxy. and-
Purge everything, start
Anyways.
over. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're really disappointed with the Death of Snoke. It went nowhere. It was set up. It was literally. Another reviewer said this, but basically J.J. Abrams set him up, and it was an easy fucking layup. You just slam that ball down up in there, and Rian Johnson
Just swatted it
instead
away.
fucking goaltended or fucking took the ball and ripped it in half and said, "Fuck this." You know, I
He's just
hate
some
Snoke.
guy.
They set him up perfectly to have this big payoff. Like, he could be huge, he could be distorted, he could do this, he could do that. Instead, he's got a black kyber crystal ring, and people Star Wars theories people are, and then those channels have to feel like shit right now. We're like, man, we're so full of shit because Disney isn't competent. Where was the lore masters here? Where were the creative teams in Star Wars The Last Jedi that was like, hey, we need to put something in here like this or do this or that? No, it was Rian Johnson said, oh, J.J. Abrams giving me smoke? Fuck Snoke. I'm moving on. Kylo Ren. That's who I want to be the main bad guy of everything. Now Kylo Ren is our supreme leader. Are you into it? I'm not into it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping. Is there another threat we haven't seen? No, they wouldn't introduce that at the very last. And so it's gonna literally the last thing is Kylo Ren versus Rey.
Nobody cares.
If
Everyone,
Kylo
I don't
Ren-
care anymore.
I don't care. I'm done.
I don't care anymore.
If Kylo Ren was more in charge of himself, like instead of being conflicted and being still like this whiny brat, then okay, I'd accept him as a leader. If he was like fully dark side at this point.
And they have so much more to wrap up with Kylo Ren in order to make Han Solo's death not be completely in vain.
Yeah.
And if they're just gonna set him up like this, then you just killed Han Solo in vain. And by the way, you've killed Luke in vain, which is there's two reasons left. Yeah. You've killed Luke in vain, and I bet you anything, they killed Han in Episode 7. They killed Luke in Episode 8. They're gonna kill Leia in Episode 9. And that's it. And what I was hoping for, fucking Disney, is when you took care of the Star Wars universe, you make great sci-fi films, which it seems like you're capable of doing. Rogue One was competent enough and was interesting, great battles. But really give us closure and give us legendary endings to these amazing characters that not only I grew up with, but my dad grew up with. And give them the endings that they fucking deserve. And you've done none of that so far.
They're all going out like bitches.
And that's the next reason. The behavior of Luke is number 2. Luke Skywalker. Disney fucked Luke Skywalker.
Big time.
And this is why Mark Hamill's on record and saying, when I first read the script, I was like, hell no, no way. Luke would not do this. He wouldn't do any of this. And I'm 100% with Mark Hamill.
Yep.
Because, you know, let's talk about it. Luke wants to kill Kylo. Let me say this thing. Really? Get the fuck out of here. This is the same Luke who didn't want to kill a Wampa, even though it butchered his face in Empire Strikes Back and was likely going to eat him later. But he doesn't kill it. He just, you know, swipes its arm off and runs away. This is the same Luke. This is even bigger. He went on a suicide mission to the second fucking Star Destroyer himself. Death Star, right? Because he thinks he could find the good in the second most evil man in the universe. He's like, I can find the good.
And he was already evil.
Because it's his family. It's his family. So you're going to tell me. So now he wants to murder his own nephew, right? The only child of his twin sister and his best fucking friend. He's going to murder him because he's showing a little bit of dark side tendencies.
What's the problem?
Fuck off.
Yeah, definitely. And
fuck off.
The other thing too is like, Luke
himself has shown dark side tendencies.
Yeah. At the end of when he was with Yoda, and he's like, "Oh, you need to just go off and do it. I have these feelings. I'm scared. I'm gonna go save my friends and do this." It's the same fucking lesson he learned already. And in the movie, they're like, he got scared, so he was just gonna do it brashly without thinking. He learned that lesson already, and he's just like, "I'm throwing it all out."
Yeah.
It's just
and it's so fucking cheap the way they depict it. Just have some fucking balls. This director or the writing team sucks because the main problem with the movie is it has no balls. It does both angles. Is Kylo Ren gonna go light or dark? He's both. Is Rey's gonna go light or dark? He's both. Is Luke going evil and gonna kill? No, he's both because he wanted to, but then he realized no, I don't want to.
That's not how the universe works.
No, what the fuck? It's so wishy-washy.
Yeah,
Everything
no
in the film is,
anything.
oh, we're gonna kill Leia. No, we're not gonna. She's coming back, and So it's this movie takes both sides on everything, and I fucking hate it. So I would have respected it more if they just said, you know what, Luke just went fucking crazy on that island.
He went full dark side.
He went full dark side, and he's been playing around with dark side and light side shit, and now he's a great Jedi, and he doesn't give a fuck. They try to do that a little bit, but it's not really explained well enough in order to lead up to that. Luke wouldn't behave that way. His behavior is completely fucked in that movie. Yep. Especially going to that location in the first place and creating a map. It's because it's two different directors. It's as if Rian Johnson came in and said, I want to do whatever I want, and we're gonna have Luke do this and that, and that's what's happening.
The whole point of the map was just be like, in times of need, find me and we'll do what we need to do. And like, he's just completely opposite character they set him up to be.
They make him a little bit of a coward.
Yeah. And he's this super powerful dude. And it's just crazy that they made the character so much of a wimp, unwilling to help his friends.
40 years people have been waiting for this.
Yeah.
And that's reason number 1. We're finally here. Reason number 1, the death of Luke Skywalker. We have been waiting 30, 40 years to see him, and this is what we get. We get 2 fucking swings, and he ducks a bit from 2 swings from Kylo Ren.
Yep.
Why not come himself? Here's the biggest thing. I thought the scene where they're all shooting at him, when I thought he was actually there, I was like, yes.
Holy shit.
They fucking did this right. Oh my God, you're so amazing, Disney. Thank you. And we're fine. And when he walks out of there, I was like, okay, this is going to be crazy. Is he going to go after it? I didn't necessarily think he needed to go after every fucking gorilla.
It would have been great if he had lifted one.
But have the actual battle and do what you're setting up. Don't have it both ways, because again, they have it both ways here. Is Luke really there? No, he's not really there. Did Kylo really kill him? No, he didn't kill him. But yeah, he did kill him. What the fuck? It's so wishy-washy. So, look, why not come himself if the end result was going to be the same?
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Like, if he's going to die anyway, at least let him go out heroically. Like, let him fucking blow himself up using all this force power to save his
Hold
friends
off
or
all the fucking, and then we see the door slowly closing or something and hold him off, and then we get the fuck out of there. And that's Luke. And he was the spark that created the new rebellion.
He died a martyr.
Luke Skywalker.
He should have died a martyr.
Instead, he dies because he fucking was exhausted from sweating so much.
Nobody has done that before, right? That was amazing, huh? He gave Leia some dice from the Millennium Falcon.
Oh, they were fake dice.
No, they were astral projection dice.
They were fake
dice. Stuck around after he died. The dice were still.
That was horrible. It's like, here, this is like your husband's. Poof, gone. Psych, bitch. Psych, bitch.
And she left him, and Kylo got him, and he's like, boom.
You know, here's the thing: is that he should have came himself.
Like what I was
makes
hoping.
him a coward. If Luke's surviving, I just can't.
You just can't.
I thought he was gonna raise his X-wing back up out of the ocean.
That's why the X-wing was there.
That's why I thought. I was like,
Julian's a fucking X-wing.
He's gonna raise it back up just like he did in the swamp and get the fuck out of there.
You realize how cool it would have been if a fucking X-wing just flies in randomly?
Yeah.
And then Kylo's like, no, I sense something. Don't fire out that. He comes down and there's fucking Luke.
So
yeah.
Oh my god.
We gotta talk about the back of when I saw it, they showed the back of the AT-ATs on purpose. How they had like huge exposed fuel tanks. I thought he was gonna come in with the X-wing and just light them all up in a straight line because they had weak points.
That would have been.
But nope, they didn't.
So
do
you have
anything
to, and this plays into the plot holes we're gonna get to. But why didn't Kylo know Luke was making a Force illusion?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
If he's so in tune with the Force and he's just got this raw power.
Yeah. And not even that. There's one big thing that would have tipped him off way more than that. What lightsaber does Luke light up?
The blue one.
The blue one.
And what did Kylo just do to the blue lightsaber seconds
blown up.
before?
Yeah.
They ripped that lightsaber apart and into pieces.
I thought it was gonna be his green
What the
one.
fuck? Exactly. If they wanted to fake us out even better, it would have been Luke using his green lightsaber. No, instead he engages his blue lightsaber, and Kylo doesn't notice shit. He doesn't think it's weird at all. It's fucking stupid, man.
But like we talked about how Luke should have died. They should have ended the movie with him dying to Snoke, and like the final few moments of the movie, like them. I would have been
for that either. I would have been for that even more than this.
Yeah.
But this way could have been done.
Yeah.
He could have, if you wanted Luke to live, you could have laid down a hologram and got out with everybody else. That's the smart Luke, or the brave and valiant Luke giving his life to start the spark of the rebellion. Because remember, nobody came. They sent the signal.
Yeah.
Everybody received the signal, and nobody fucking came.
Yeah, they were like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, fuck you guys. The First Order's the best.
Yeah.
But if Luke would have died and everybody would have heard of that, maybe it would have sparked the revolution. He would have been the martyr. But we don't get a martyr now. We get, he was a coward, ran off to a planet, and then he fucking force meditated real hard after drinking nipple milk, and then and then he died like that because he couldn't take the pressure. So I'm only hoping, and I know this for a fact, that Luke's coming back. I know it. He's coming back as a Force Ghost.
Yeah.
Right. So you better do the best motherfucking Force Ghost scene ever of all time, but it'll still be disappointing compared to what he could have gone out. Motherfucking Chewie in the expanded universe, which is now no longer non-canon, had a more epic death than Luke fucking Skywalker. Chewie saved an entire planet and it took a moon crashing into him. Dropped a moon on him, and he saved an entire planet. He was, I can't do Chewie.
And then with the wishy-washy, there was not even like an ultimate confrontation of light and dark in this movie. There was nothing like that.
So
it was just no darkness with Luke, no light with Luke, nothing. Just
I wanted them to expand on that a little bit more, like Luke be a great Jedi. I did appreciate that Luke kind of owned up to the Jedi Order being kind of idiots and the cause of all this.
I
That was
also wanted
cool.
to know more about that dark side area on the island.
Exactly.
Because all they said was like, it's a mirror.
So
it's a dark mirror.
So now we go back to, that's the 10 reasons, but we're not done yet. 10 reasons, the plot holes. Remember the plot holes? Here they come to you.
Forget?
So I'm going to go 10 reasons. It's actually 22, 27, 29 reasons. You ready? Here, we're going to do these rapid fire. Why didn't the First Order destroy the Resistance fleet ships immediately? Okay, so a big part of that Last Jedi is that General Hux and the Star Destroyers are chasing down the fucking Resistance, right? And it's the slowest fucking chase you've ever seen. Those turbo lasers do have the range to obliterate them.
100-kilometer range.
But even if you want to say that they don't have the range and only the bombardment cannons are the ones that can penetrate the shields of Home 2, I'm just going to call it the Home 2 because I forget what this one's called. And basically, then why the fuck didn't you launch all fighters?
Yeah, because apparently the fighters can go straight through shields, as we saw.
Yep.
Yeah. Instead, they launch.
Doesn't make sense.
They launch 3 fighters, right?
Yeah.
They launch fucking Kylo Ren and 2 escorts.
And
They have the Resistance right where they want them. They're gonna obliterate them. They're surrounded, and they send 3 fighters from this mega fleet to go take care of them.
The other thing I don't get is you have Snoke's massive dreadnought, right?
Yep.
And you're telling me Snoke's massive dreadnought doesn't have one of those orbital bombardment cannons that would easily be able to reach that ship?
Yeah, but it did also have the range though, because she was.
Oh, it did have the range.
Snoke forces Rey to look. The transporters are getting shot down because they're escaping.
Oh yeah, and those transporters are
They
further
were further away.
Shit.
But they
I
don't
was
have
like,
shields.
what the
Oh,
fuck?
those don't have shields, Joe. That's the reason. But you're
there's
trying to tell
The
me
lasers are reaching them instantly, though.
Snoke's ship.
So you're trying to tell me the supremacy, Snoke's ship, isn't powerful enough to penetrate the shields of that smaller ship. It's almost, and then not even that, but you have to buy that every single ship in the First Order fleet is slower than the Resistance ship.
Well, it's not even that. Okay, think about this. Why didn't the First Order, knowing where that ship is, jump away
and then jump back
right on top of them?
Well, not only that, but why don't they know exactly where they're at, so they call in? Are you telling me this is the entire First Order Resistance fleet? They took over the whole galaxy after they obliterated the Republic, but they didn't need to send ships to, like, garrison places? They couldn't call on other ships to jump in front?
Yeah, because, I mean, they even said that the ship is being tracked by the main ship, right?
Yeah.
So leave the main ship there, but the supplemental Star Destroyers could all jump out and jump in front of.
It's all
the
because
rebel ship.
it's all poor writing. That's why. Plot hole.
They were chasing.
Next.
They were chasing.
Next.
Finn and Rose.
Next.
That's what happened.
Next. Why didn't this is what I'm saying. Why didn't Vice Admiral Holdo just let Poe in on her plan from the beginning? That's what you said earlier.
No fucking reason.
There was no reason whatsoever. She assumes command, her plan is just to seemingly just fucking chug along and let all of her ships get obliterated.
I have a plan, but I'm not going to tell you.
And understandably, Poe is like, what the fuck?
He's looking out the window.
Everybody is dying. That medical ship, that poor medical ship, how could they be so evil? And so of course he's understandably upset. But then later on we find out she does have a plan to secretly evacuate everyone in Shuttlecraft and hide them on the rebel base on Krayt. So why doesn't she tell Poe about this rather than lead him to eventually mutiny against her?
And even after he mutinies, she won't tell him still.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, you're just going to have guns pointed towards me and
I am
everything.
fucking confused. It is stupid, poor ass writing.
You know what it was? They played Destiny, and they were like, you know what would be cool if we have that scene where she's like, I could tell you, but I won't.
And by the way, why couldn't Holdo have set the cruiser on autopilot and used an escape pod herself? Yeah. This whole ship could be autopiloted. Her suicide by hyperspace was intense, and it was a cool ass moment with the way they did it.
Oh yeah.
But was it really necessary? And why did they do that in the fucking first place?
Exactly.
With the Death Star.
We were talking about that last night with the Death Star.
Fuck everything else. They could have used it there.
Yeah, exactly. But if they have an entire rebel fleet, okay, and they go, okay, let's use one ship and plow it through the Empire ship.
Everything.
In sci-fi, if you're in hyperspace, you're going the speed of light, a single grain of dust will shred your entire ship. Because it's like the amount of force and stuff. But they did that in this, and they destroyed, and that was the other thing. They destroyed all of the ships instantly. Like, what the shit? What? Like,
it wasn't all the ships. It was a lot behind it, I think, for some.
It was like a shotgun.
Well, I'll have to rewatch it. But here's the thing. She didn't have a uniform, and yet she's this Vice Admiral. Yeah. It would have been a lot stronger plot point if the reason why is because she was actually the spy. She was the one tracking the ships. That's why she was leading them to their slow deaths, because she didn't want to give control to the rebels who would turn around and take some First Order lives and go out in a blaze of glory. Yeah. That would have been a much stronger plot point. Instead, they use it to make Finn look like a fucking moron just trying to be a hero and save people and do the right thing. And her right thing was run away and get more people killed. I guess.
I thought the entire thing would have been like she was doing this and she was betraying.
No, we got to keep moving on. This is supposed to be a faster section. A single X-wing can fuck up a Dreadnought now. Number 13.
Oh god,
a single X-wing.
I want to talk about that one.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay,
yes.
so
next.
All of these Star Destroyers are supposed to have like thousands of turbo laser emplacements all over their hull, specifically for this reason.
Yeah, this is poor writing. Because the First Order have been fighting the rebellion for how long now?
A long
fucking time. And they still don't understand that the Resistance uses smaller, nimble fighters, so none of the deck guns can attack single fighters.
Well, not only that, how many guns did this Dreadnought have on top of it for Poe to go through it within 3 minutes?
Yeah, and so that's just ridiculous. They have the explanation that he gets closer, but now it can't. And where were the fucking shields? This Dreadnought had no fucking shields. Yeah, he's just able to destroy everything. So, and then the bombers themselves are kind of stupid because they have to get so fucking close. Now that is I think a throwback to George Lucas wanting to make the ships more like World War II. Yeah. And so, but it just doesn't work here. And one of the bombers can completely destroy a single Dreadnought.
That's not how it works.
And then if that's the case, why did you send 20 and obliterate your whole fleet to take out one Dreadnought?
You got a couple X-Wings, took out an entire planet.
And I also have
the First Order is not exactly the smartest.
No!
Here's another thing. Why did Dreadnought just sit there?
Yeah.
All it had to do was tip its bow just a little bit up and crush all the bombers. They would have just plowed right into it.
Again,
anyways.
Same thing I told them.
So number
Stop
14. Number 14. Why didn't Kylo see through Luke's deception via the blue lightsaber? Number 15. The Knights of Ren are dismissed in the story. The Praetorian Guards are not the Knights of Ren. Where were the Knights of Ren? Number 16. Kylo Ren is obsessed with Vader. That's set up in Force Awakens. Now it seems gone. It's like symbolically destroyed, I guess, when he fucks and destroys his own helmet and you know, get up against the thing.
Because Snoke said it looks stupid.
But why?
That's what he said. He's like, take off.
Stupid.
He said, take off that stupid helmet. And he's like,
why? It feels cheap. I thought that Snoke, the reason why would Kylo even listen to Snoke? I thought it was because Snoke was manipulating Kylo through the use of Darth Vader's Force Ghost or something, saying, I am communicating with him. Right? But then there's no reason for Kylo to go to Snoke and listen to Snoke. Anyways, moving on.
Just random dude.
Number 17, Rey didn't get training, yet she fights like she had. Number 18, Snoke's ship can track targets through hyperspace, yet he doesn't know that it works like that, or of there being...
he
didn't even know he had a tracking device on his
He's like, oh shit, nice job.
Number 9. No. That's why he has a magnifying glass on his bridge. I thought that machine was supposed to be some sort of force manipulator.
Those are his glasses.
Amplifier.
The general on the bridge. He goes up. He's like, Snoke, don't worry. I got the script. I know where they're.
Number 20. Rey happens to be on the other side of the rocks just perfectly when the Resistance escapes their death on that planet, and she can lift all of those fucking rocks out of the way with zero real focused training. Yeah. Even though she lifts a few pebbles and cracks rocks, she can lift all of them, and she's in the right place. Number 21. Why is Finn hurt in the first film, by Kylo, only for a few good minutes later in this film to be completely, fine? What was the point in setting that up?
They gave him the suit.
And by the way, I was like, Joe, look at the back of his jacket. See if you see a burn mark or any sort of cut mark. There's no cut mark on the back of his jacket. It never happened. Rian Johnson didn't even watch Force Awakens before this. He didn't do his research. Number 22, Rose falling in love within 12 hours is stupid. We already went through that.
Love at first sight.
Okay, so that's 22 reasons. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching this super long video. Maybe next time I'll make a video on how we could have fixed that, because I have reasons on how to fix The Last Jedi, how I would have reworked Finn and Rose's storyline.
Cut it out.
Cut it out. Or used Lando instead to come help with code breaking, or to rescue everyone and actually keep Holden as a traitor. Anyway. Can't get into all that. Thank you so much for watching. This was therapeutic for us. And if you want to know why, or if you want to direct other people to this video as to why Star Wars fans might be a little upset and why that audience rating is going down as we speak, this video will give you all the reasons why. All right? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next Angry Joe Show. Bye, guys.